name's Brett. Welcome to Suburban Garage. Welcome to another episode of Suburban Garage. It's been a big week. It's been a really big week cleaning everything. We'll get to that in a minute. But we've just had a 2-day, 850 kilometre return trip ride up the mountains on the prototype motorcycle, which is the second time I've done the ride, which was good, and it's the second time we've had no problems at all. Nothing came loose, there wasn't any dramas. And because I always mix a little bit of octane booster in with the fuel just to get it that little bit more edge. And with the cold mountain there, the bike, it purred along. It's a really, really good motorcycle. It's really comfortable on a long ride with that seat and those low handlebars, because I'm a motocross guy, so I like to have it nice and low. Okay, let's get to what we've got during the week. We've received a few more things during the week. As I said in one of the last episodes, that I was going to change the rear guard to a thinner guard, because the guard that I showed you before was about 7.5 inches wide, which I thought was a little bit wider than this guard. So we've got one exactly the same as this one, which is 6 inches wide. Full guard, arcs all the way around. I'm not quite sure how low we're going to cut it back yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's have a look what we've done. Now you can see what I've done during the week. I've taped everything up. I've used a lot of tape on a lot of things. I polished these bolts here to look like that motorcycle, like these ones here. So the rocker cover will come back this week hopefully, and that'll come back like that too. So I've done everything, I've taped everything up. We have the speedo in the bag here, all taped up and ready to go. It's had a full clean. We've cleaned it with wax and grease remover, and I've rubbed it back with some paper, but with the paint that I've got, I'll go through that in a minute. We're just going to paint all that because it's got an etcher in it, the engine enamel that I use. So we've taped all that up. We've made sure that everything we don't want black is taped up. I've removed the 2 dents out of the pipe. I did that with liquid metal, and I've filed that back. It's all sort of boring stuff that I would get to during the week that you don't really want to see, but that's how we are at the moment. We're all taped up, we're ready to go, so we're going to get some paint on that in this episode and make that look pretty good. Okay, so we've had a big week. We've had a really big week here. The sink this week has had an absolute flogging. Really it has. We've been through a couple of boxes of these stir wall pads because the road film and brake dust on these parts was diabolical. It was unbelievable. I don't think they've ever been cleaned. But we've got the wheels up. They've come up pretty good. I filed a bit of gutter rash off here. We've taken the wheel weights off, so we've cleaned that up pretty good. That's the back one. We've cleaned the front one up pretty good. We've taken all the rough, loose paint and everything off it, so they're ready to go. We're going to paint those too. I'm real happy about that. They're ready to go. We've got blinkers. We've got our blinkers during the week. As I said, we've got 2 of these, 2 pairs, exactly the same what's on the prototype bike. We got all 4 of these for $15 with free delivery. Imagine that. Pod filters. We got both our pod filters have arrived. Nice shiny chrome. That's exactly what's on the prototype bike from exactly the same guy. So we're styling there, we're looking really well. I've cleaned everything up. I've cleaned the front fork legs up. I've taped everything up, the rubbers, the chrome tubes. We'll paint the ends black and keep the bolts black. There's no grease, road film, they're all pretty smooth. Got all the flaky paint. I think someone's had a bit of a go at it before, but we've taken all that off. That's ready to go. Both the front forks are ready to go. I've taped up the rear shocks. Now, I did manage to find brand new shocks, aftermarket shocks. They're not the same because they don't have the gas cylinder on the side. and they're not official Honda ones, but we found 2 of those, chrome, the whole thing chrome, $89 plus $15 delivery, and they were in Australia. So if you want to do that, I'll get to that later, but we're just going to keep these. We're going to keep them black because these are Showa Honda shocks. Another guard that I explained before, we got this guard out of Melbourne. We actually got this guard for $86 with free delivery, and that's 6 inches wide, so that'll look even better. So we'll cut that down. We'll get to that in the next episode, I think, and we'll get that painted, get the drill holes tapped, bolts prepared. We'll make the brackets. Got to have support brackets for that, so next episode we'll get to that. But we've got everything pretty much done. We've painted all the old crap. That's going to be painted black. I've left all that together. We won't worry about that side because that's where the rubbers go in for inside the hub. We won't worry about, we're not going to paint that. We've cleaned it all though. We're going to paint that black. Same with the prototype bike, so that'll look really good. All these parts I've cleaned up during the week by hand. These are the rear chain adjusters. Okay, mate. Okay.
You don't get any more Suburban garage than that, do you?
Okay, I've cleaned all these brake parts up. I've cleaned all the road film off them and got them back to a nice shiny silver again. I'm going to keep these silver. That'll go with the bike. I was going to paint them black, but I think I might keep them silver because they look pretty good, nice and clean. Same with some other parts. This, I want to keep this nice and silver as well. This is part of the rear brake assembly. That looks nice. It's nice silver finish on it. That's factory. We've cleaned the bolts up. We've cleaned these bolts up here. They're for the exhaust. I've just give them a brush with the silver soak pads with the stir wall. I've even gone to the point of using the wire brush on the brake pads, getting them back to a nice looking copper. So when the bike's all painted and back together, it'll look brand new, hopefully. We've got the discs ready. We've got all our discs ready. We're going to keep that silver as I explained before as well. So we're ready to paint. We're ready to paint some things. We're going to make some things look pretty good. And have a bit of fun while we're doing our paint. The paint that I use, those who follow the Facebook page will see the Suburban Garage Facebook page, and the Instagram page will see plenty of things that I've painted. I've done a lot of research with this paint. I could fire up the air compressor down here. I could get the spray gun out. I can use all that sort of stuff, but I'm not going to use it. We have to measure the paint. We have to weigh it. We have to make sure that we get the right amount of thinners and paint combined together to get a nice even paint. But with this paint, I've used this paint quite a lot. This was used on the prototype bike as well as the Triumph that I've got as well. And I've used it on plenty of other things. It's low gloss black. It's very, very close to satin black. So I use that. A lot of people don't like this sort of stuff, but I've sort of perfected a way that we can use it to our advantage. I like to keep them pretty warm. The warmer the can of paint, the pressure comes up higher and the paint's warm. So these cans are a little warm. I've had them soaking in warm water. So they're good to go. As I said, I like to get it a little bit warm because it increases the pressure of the can and the paint flows a lot better. So let's go ahead and paint a few things. We're ready to go. We've got everything nice and clean. It's about time we painted some things. We'll paint some of these other items first, I think, and we'll hang those up to dry, and then we'll move on to the frame. And it's going to look really good because, as I said, I've used it a lot of times before. I've had a lot of comments on the paint, and that's what I use. So that's Duplicolor engine enamel with ceramic in it. And it's dyno heat tested to 500 degrees. So I paint the engine with that. I paint the wheels. Anything black will be painted with this low gloss black satin engine enamels. It's really, really good paint. It doesn't wear off, it doesn't rub off. Stone chips, it doesn't seem to affect them. I haven't got any on the prototype bike. And I swear by it, I think it's really good. So I get that from Super Cheap, and that's only about $16 a can, which is pretty good because we really only need one, maybe 1.5 cans per wheel, and that will make a huge difference. So we're ready to go, so let's paint a few things. But first, we're going to have a few miscellaneous items: wet and dry sandpaper, degreaser. So what I have been doing at the end lately is I keep the caps and I put some masking tape on them so I know how many I've used at the end of the build, because there'll be a miscellaneous part on the budget board. So I've used nearly 2 boxes of these steel walls at the moment, but they're only about $1.80 a box, and I just get them from the supermarket, so that's no big deal. So we're looking good. We've got everything nice and clean, all these parts. We've got the brake pads are all done. This is going to be nice and black. Let's get to it. We might paint some things. So we've installed our Redneck fume extraction device this week, which is get rid of some fumes for us. We're going to paint it over here near the door now, so I can blow the overspray and everything out the door, because it gets pretty nasty when you start talking about overspray. So we had a late night last night with the painting. It's the following day now, so all this is dry. Now it has come up very well. I'm pretty happy with it. There's no runs, there's no defects in the paint. The paint works really well, as I said. It's really thick, and it's got that ceramic in it, which makes it a little bit harder. It can handle the heat, which is what it's made for. So we've got all our parts here that have come up really well, so we'll just have a bit of a look at that. The forks have come up well. I'm happy with the forks. We'll get some of that tape off soon and we'll have a final look, and it'll make that black really pop. And the wheels. We did the wheels as well. The wheels come up very well. I'm real happy with that. There's no runs, there's no defects in the paintwork. So they were silver. I spent hours cleaning them up, so they've come up pretty good. I'm really happy with them. So we're looking good. We'll do the bike in a minute. We'll get the frame all taken care of and get all the engine painted, so we can get closer and closer to a finished bike. I'm pretty happy with it. It's come along fine. We haven't had any problems yet. We've had some little issues, but we haven't had any major problems. Okay, we got all the tape off everything. I've taken the tape off the rear shocks. I've left these ones gold because I think they look pretty good, plus they're original Showa rear shocks from Honda, so they look pretty good. It's come up really well. So they're all nice. They all look good. So we've got the both of those. Just come up really, really well. I'm really happy with those. We've also taken the tape off our fork legs. So that's come up really nice. I'm really happy with that too. So they're starting to look nice and new. I painted the ends of them. So we've got both of these that are all done, nice and dry, pretty much ready to go back on the motorcycle, so that looks nice. We've also put the discs back on the wheel, back on the rim, so that's also come up really nice as well. So they're all finished for get the rubber back on there, so those discs look pretty good with the tape off, and everything's nicely painted, so we're styling, we're looking good. So that was the front one, of course, and the rear one. The rear one's come up well, really good as well. They're like brand new wheels, so I didn't want to paint the little finger tabs on the disc there black where it bolts onto the rim, so I thought we'd leave them nice and silver, so that looks pretty good. So we're all ready for everything. Even our hub ready to go straight on the other side. So we didn't paint that side, of course, that's where the rubber goes, but that looks pretty good. We're all good with that way, and all of our shiny parts that we cleaned up. So we're coming along well. We will get to painting this frame now. So it's been a big episode, this one, a lot of work's gone into this episode. We'll paint the frame now and we'll look at that. So we're pretty much ready to go with this frame and the engine. Everything's taped up, ready to go. So we're just going to paint it in bits and pieces, and eventually I'll have it all black. We've got to move some stuff out the way so we can paint, of course. But here I've just taped all where the rocker's up here, and put some grease where the gasket's going to sit, because I don't want to paint that surface. I'm just going to paint the spark plugs. I'm not going to take those out because we're going to change them anyway. But while I think of it, the other day when I was looking around here, right down in there, because these plugs sink down a little bit, I noticed a tiny little little black road rock right next to the spark plug. So had I pulled that spark plug out and not noticed that, that little rock would have fallen in. So that's just a little tip if you're ever changing spark plugs with some of these bikes. Just check, get the mirror, pull the tank off, whatever you need to do. Just check that there are no little stones that are going to drop down into the cylinder when you pull the plugs out. Okay, we're done with the painting for the time being. We've got our bike all nice and black, everything's black. As I said, everything that wasn't covered with tape got painted black, so the carburetors are black, everything's black. I like the pipes black, even though the prototype bike I've got is silver, the pipes are silver. This one black is, I like it a lot. The wheels are all done, the wheels come up really good with the discs and everything. The calipers were painted, everything was painted, the front brake master cylinder, I covered up the little window, so we're good to go with that. Swing arm, oil cooler at the front, triple clamp top and bottom. We've been through a couple of cans of paint, I'll get to that in a minute when we go through the budget board. But we're looking good, we're coming in on budget, everything's going together accordingly. We're still waiting on a couple of parts to come through the mail, so once I get that exhaust wrap, we'll whip into that and get that exhaust wrap done, and I'll find the battery box, and hopefully we'll have our rocker cover back this week, and the seat as well. And I'll get the rubber put back on these wheels this week, so let's go have a look at that budget board, and we'll see what changes we've got. Okay, so we've got our budget board here. We're on budget, as I said before. I've started ticking things off as we've got them. So we've got the tractor seat, which we've got off to the upholster. The rear guard, I did get a new guard, as I explained during the week. So, and I actually got that one for $86 with free delivery. So I've reduced the price there. And I also reduced the price on the 2 pod filters. Instead of paying $44 for them, we got them for $35. So that's a good saving in itself. So we're looking at this now. I am waiting on some things, so hopefully I'll get them this week. The quicker I get those, the quicker we can get into doing some more stuff. So we're coming in on budget and we are looking pretty good. Okay, before we wrap this show up, one other thing. There are going to be some miscellaneous items in the way of degreasers and things like that. So I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure we're done with the cleaning. We might have a few other little things we've got to clean, so I'm not going to wrap the total amount up of the miscellaneous budget right now. So, but these are only cheap, so every degreaser that I've been using, I've been putting tape around the caps, and I'm keeping the caps over here. So we've used 4 cans of degreaser so far, and the same with the paint, because we've still got the tank to go yet. I think that's about the only other thing that we've got to paint. So we're styling, we're looking good. So far we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've used 7 cans at the moment. So I am in on budget on the paint. I estimated maybe 10, maybe 11 cans going off the last bike, but I didn't really count them off the last bike. I just used them and threw them in the bin. So we're keeping the caps and I'm putting tape on them. So we've got all our stuff here.
We'll have a quick pan around the bike, just so you can see how everything went. It looks pretty good with my eyes from where I'm standing, so I am pretty happy with it. It's all come out even, which is good with that satin black paint because it does come out even. So it's looking pretty good. I am happy with those pipes, as I said. So it's looking good. We've got everything done. We just need some of our shiny stuff back. Our exhaust guards that belong down the bottom, they're being re-chromed. We want our exhaust wrap. Some rubber on the wheels.
Okay, let's wrap this episode up. It's been a huge episode. I had to stretch this one out of, over 2 days. Last night it rained. I had to stop. I had some bikes outside that I had to bring in that weren't covered up. I wouldn't have been able to talk anyway. The noise with the rain on the roof is unbelievable. Now, we've had a big episode with the paint. Don't be scared of this paint. This paint, I've done a lot of research, I suppose you could say, research and development with it. I've used it a lot. I've tried a lot of different ways. Now, we've all used spray cans before where you might get 1 out of 5. The nozzles don't work. Now, I've had heaps of this and I haven't had a failed nozzle yet. These cans have been really, really good and it's well worth the money. What you didn't see in this episode was the half an hour of cleaning I had to do. The overspray from the amount of painting that we've done was unbelievable. I'm going to have to clean it again because it just dries like black talcum powder and it goes everywhere. A lot of it I can blow out the door with our redneck fan, but a lot of it I can't, so it does spread around everywhere. So don't be scared of this paint because it really is good stuff. I'm not real keen on glossy type colours. I'm a bit of a satin black man. I think it looks really good. You wouldn't paint a car with it, that's for sure, but with bits like this it does have good coverage and it is good stuff. As I said, we've had a really, really big week because I've done so much cleaning at the sink this week with all the parts, getting them prepared for this episode. There was that much grease and road film and stuff like that. So don't be scared of motorcycles when you see them with grease on them. A bit different if you've got engine oil, head gasket issues, things like that. But with grease, at least the grease keeps the rubbers nice and moist and they don't deteriorate. So don't be scared of that sort of grease either. So thanks for watching another episode of Suburban Garage. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're learning a few things. This bike is coming together well, but I did have to do a lot of research and a lot of playing around with the prototype bike to make sure everything works well. Hopefully we get a lot of our parts during the week this week, and we can keep going and get a few more things done. Thanks for watching Suburban Garage. We're having fun.